All right, guys, today we're talking about Porsches and what is the best Porsche to buy in 2021. Now, when you look for a Porsche, you look for many things, but we have something new to add to it. We look for reliability, look for something that is going to hold value, and now we're looking for stuff that's going to hold value in case the economy crashes. Okay, so there's two cars that we know for right now that fluctuate a lot. One of those is 986 Boxster. That car's riding the wave, right? We just seen those 6-8 months ago. You could buy a decent one for, let's say, $5,000, right? As low as $3,000 for one that needs some work, and then they go on up to $10,000. Depends on what color combo it is, how many miles are on it, all the variables of it. Also, the 996 911, right? That car, same way. It was just up a few months ago, tremendously. Now we're starting to see them go down in the low teens again, sliding up and down, up and down, up and down. Other than that, all the old air-cooled stuff, I really do think at this point in time you cannot go wrong. But if you're buying an air-cooled 911, you got to watch out for rust. If it's something very rare, you got to watch out for accessibility of parts. Although most of the parts are interchangeable. If you have a special engine, like a RSR or something that's going to cost you tons of money to fix it at all, that could be another issue. Those are, for the most part, a good deal. Make sure, like I said, the rust, make sure somebody hasn't redone the body work on it. Those rust in the door jams really bad, if not taken care of correctly. Those could rust many different spots, including underneath. So beware of all that. It's so hard to buy one of those cars online, sight unseen, or from a dealer. You really need to get those on a lift, look through them all. I think at this point in time, those are never going to go back down. I've had a ton of those cars, like 13 of those cars in the past, and I sold every one of them. This wasn't the right time to keep stuff. Right now has been the right time to keep stuff for me, so I've been keeping things. But you always go back and revisit those cars. I really wish I would have kept this, or really wish would have kept that. And the picture that's on the wall in my house of the 930, I should have kept that, right? That car right now is probably close to $100,000. And I forgot what year that was, 81, I believe. And those cars just don't exist. And if they do exist, they want a fortune. That one was actually nice shape inside and out, engine-wise, and nice wheels on it, and so forth. So that's where we are now with the Cayman. The Cayman is a unique thing all by itself. The Cayman has pretty much never fallen on price. And it used to be a year ago you could buy a Cayman S for $20, I would say. And now if you can find them for $20, you probably don't want it. For a decent one, they're more like $30 for like 06, 07, pre-LCI, pre-facelift. And you get into 08, 09, and up 2012, they could get closer to $40, which makes it kind of a catch-22 because you get into the newer Caymans, newer body style stuff, and that stuff's similar on price. So it's kind of like, what do you want? What are you really looking for? And you get into like 718 Cayman things, Cayman cars and things like that, and you're into, when you see one out driving, for me, the rear end resembles like a last generation Mitsubishi Eclipse, kind of squinty and wide. That's my first impression of seeing those. Like when we go to the city, we'll see them here and there. And Boxsters are the same way. And in recent years, they went to the 4-cylinder stuff, the 4-cylinder turbo instead of the flat 6. A lot of people didn't like that. So you still get good power, you don't get the same sound out of it. A lot of people buy a Porsche for the sound. The first thing you want to do is put exhaust on it and have that flat 6 sound. If you can't get that, it's weird. I'm not sure why they've done that. to be totally honest with you. I don't know what the benefits are. Obviously better emissions, but you think they had to go turbo to leave the flat six and go turbo with that on those less expensive cars. The SUV guys, the Macan right now, that seems like that's the hot thing going, right? They've held pretty good price for a Porsche SUV. The Cayenne, those did not hold price no matter what, hold value. They pretty much tanked out. I would not recommend buying a Cayenne, even if it's cheap, because they have a lot of failure points, they have a lot of issues, and they're expensive to fix. They kind of got away from the 911 reliability on those, and that does suck. The Macan, I haven't seen a lot of bad stuff about that. It's a little nicer looking car, but smaller. It's the same size like a Honda CR-V, a Toyota RAV4. It's a small SUV, and they can make some big numbers on horsepower. So it's appealing to a lot of people. The problem with the Porsche brand is, Porsche, I'm sorry, you guys owe me all the time. I call it Porsche, you call it Porsche, call it whatever you want, I guess. A lot of people have kids, all right? If you have kids and you have a Cayman or a Boxster, it's not going to work, right? So you have to look at that too. If you get 911, you have some little baby seats in the back. If your kids are very little, they could fit in there. Can you put car seats in there? Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe you could, but you're kind of stretching it. So a lot more people are driven to SUVs, and we see that with all brands, not just Porsche stuff. We see that with every brand. So you go on the road, you go drive on the interstate, you see more SUVs and cars, pretty much 10 to 1 at this point. And trucks, SUVs and trucks. Everybody wants two things. 4-wheel drive, they want to be able to sit up high so they crash into stuff, I guess not get hurt. I don't know. We use SUVs around here to tow the trailer. We have the G-Wagon. That's not really good for anything besides looking flashy. And other than that, we try to stick with the cars. For one, for us, it's easier to fit stuff in the shop if it's a car. If it's not a big giant SUV, we get more cars in here. But there is a lot of following for the cars, for the 911s, for the Caymans and things like that. So we're looking at a few cars slip through our fingers recently. Just couldn't quite get my greedy little mittens on them, and they slipped away. So we'll keep looking. Definitely will buy something else for the channel coming up. I would say in 2021, anything air-cooled, Cayman 911, just not so much the 986 911 at this point, and that's the price is cheap, and it's a good shape, which means no tan interior and nothing weird and not beat up or run down. That's going to be it, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. We'll see you later.